Hey everybody, welcome back to Breakfast with Bob from Challenge Miami. My name is Bob Babbitt. We're brought to you by Challenge North America, City Bikes, Veneto, the Challenged Athletes Foundation, Florida Dairy Farmers, and Wahoo. Our next guest, three-time Ironman world champion, two-time Ironman 70.3 world champion, Olympic gold medalist, and a legend, one of the legends of all time in the sport of triathlon, Mr. Jan Frodeno. I was running out of adjectives. I'm like, I could go on all day just introducing you.
Oh, it's been a fantastic few years, honestly. I remember the first time you interviewed me, and it's been a really, really cool journey ever since. So I'm just always happy to be here. It's breakfast, despite not quite being breakfast time, but I like it. It's
always a treat. So you've had an opportunity. You watch Challenge Daytona, and you're like, okay, it's 50 miles, it's in aero position, I can get ready for that, and then you come here and this is 37.5, and it's a little different than just being an aero. There's a wind on the backside, it's a road course, the roads are a little choppy. What are your thoughts on this course?
Quite frankly, it's been a real positive surprise. I came in late. I had a fair bit of trouble getting here. In fact, it was legendary getting here, and I finally got here. And then just earlier today, actually, I had a chance to look at the course. I got up in the middle of the night, basically, just to get that opportunity, make sure we get the window. And I was dumbstruck. I couldn't believe it. This course it's really fun. It really is genuinely fun. I exactly like you said. I was thinking NASCAR. I was thinking ovals. I was thinking of like going up on the banks and trying to attack, like they do in the 6-day racing.
Yes.
I'm really stoked. I mean, honestly, at the moment, beggars can't be choosers. So any race is a good race, I figure. And then star-studded field, epic course. I'm happy. 24 hours in, and I'm smiling. So,
but it's with the wind, and it seems like it's always 15 to 25 mile an hour winds out here. The backside there, it could be a little scary. There might be some people going down.
It's got potential. It's definitely got potential. I mean, we went around it this morning without any wind, and that was pleasant. And we were like, yes, this is great. And then the wind picked up more and more. And the thing, what happens is there are a couple of switchbacks in the turn. So you go from straight on being in the wind to having a fairly narrow turn and then hitting the wind head on. And that's, of course, quite tricky with the deep section wheels, disc wheels. They pick it up and they push you out that extra half a meter, which you've got. I mean, it's made for cars, so it's obviously pretty wide. But then there's a couple of changes of surface between concrete and bitumen, and interesting for sure. I just hope it doesn't rain.
Oh my God, it rained a little earlier today. I saw Lionel riding around in the rain here, and I'm like, ooh, I'm worried about that. Rain could be a problem.
Yeah, but he also, if he rode later, he didn't see the technical bit, so that'll be fine. On the oval, you're fine for the rain, but the inside is definitely tricky.
So coming off a year where you break the Ironman course record, you win your third Ironman, and then we go into COVID shutdown. How hard has this been for you, just not having races on the calendar, and clock is ticking, and you're losing a year to get your fourth Ironman World Championship? Nobody ever likes that. But how have you dealt with it?
Yeah, I mean, the way you say it, a fourth Ironman title, there's so much more, and I don't really count the titles, I count the projects. I look at the projects, and it's sad to miss out on something like that when you're so dedicated and focused, and everything is just a churning performance machine trying to get, through all the ups and downs, because obviously it's never a linear path to get there. And the year's had its own challenges altogether. I can't deny that I definitely have had a good time spending more time with my kids. That's been pretty cool.
Yeah.
Trying some other projects which we just started, between a cafe, hotel, a charity project which we're about to launch. All these kind of things. I mean, we've talked about charity I don't know how many times behind the scenes, and it's never come of it simply because I can't do it with my training and my commitments, and it's a year that's been fantastic for that. But I sure as heck am back. I'm very happy to be back here racing.
Can you share anything on the charity, or is that just premature at this point?
No. Well, we're looking to build a pump track just around the outskirts of Girona. where we're building a big pump track that we're,
what's a pump track?
A pump track is where basically it's like a BMX park almost.
Oh, okay.
Where you have to
Little
go with the rhythm.
loop-de-loops,
You don't
yeah.
have to pedal. You just go with the rhythm of those little bumps.
Right.
And the sharp turns and all this kind of thing. So we're looking to introduce underprivileged kids to cycling, to mingle, the wealthy world of cycling with the underprivileged world of where we're building it.
Right.
Because the pandemic, and this came through this triathlon at home, struck really, really hard, and we had a fair bit of money to donate, where we basically handed out 180 meals three times a week to people, just in front of our doorstep, who basically didn't have
Out
enough.
of the cafe.
The cafe wasn't launched at that time.
Oh, that's right, yes.
We contracted another business that was in trouble at the time, that obviously wasn't allowed to operate, and they catered for us.
How
So we
cool
could
is
save
that?
a business, and we could, do a little bit in our community to
Yes.
help. But it always raised the question of what's next? What can we do next? And of course, we all know triathlon is a beautiful sport, but it's not necessarily the coolest sport. It's not the X Games. We're not talking snowboarding, skateboarding, all that kind of thing. So to get young kids involved, I was looking for a fun part of what to do, and this pump track is exactly that. You can bring any form of wheels on it, be it a skateboard, be it a city hire bike, be it
Right.
a road bike, whatever you want. You can go on there with a time trial bike if you're good enough.
Right.
It's just good fun to do laps on a technical course, and you can do it from any age. And this is really our starting point, where we're looking to engage with the community, get kids on bikes. We've got 850 kids signed up, and we haven't even started.
How cool is
so
that?
It's small by your terms, by Challenge Athletes Foundation terms, but definitely something that I think we're going to grow in the future, and I'm really excited about.
It's funny, because I think our sport it's a small sport with a big heart, and watching the Brownlee Foundation, and now what you're doing, and I just love the fact when athletes give back, because really what you're doing is you're giving the gift of fitness, which is going to help these kids be good at everything they do from now on.
Yeah, it's a gift of fitness, but it's also the gift of opportunity. Really, it is my path. It's where I've come from.
Right.
It's how I've come to be who I am, is through sport, and
Yes.
giving people, and especially in troubled times like this, an identity is always, I think, it's fascinating to see. Honestly, I've never been that engaged as I was last year, and going around, and yeah, just it's an incredibly good feeling actually to give.
What's interesting to me is what you guys do for a living can be considered very selfish, right? You go out and you swim, you bike, you run. Having that give back component to it makes those workouts mean something, right? And when you're hurting in a race, you can draw on that, I'm guessing.
To be honest, I'm not sure. I look at it from a performance standpoint.
Okay.
It really is. It's something. Once I get off the bike, that I just enjoy doing, and that I can see, being something really nice for the future, and something of, shaping the place I live
Right.
in a positive way. And I've always admired you for what you do in that regard. It really is fascinating what you guys have put up, and I really see that. It's worthwhile. I can only recommend it to all the guys and girls out there to get involved in some sort of charity. It's pretty cool.
So this event is probably closer to your roots of Olympic distance, right? The roots from the Olympic gold back in 2008 than to the 112-mile Ironman roots. Are you looking forward to it? This is going to be fast and furious.
Yeah, this is definitely a way back in time. I definitely, throughout the last few weeks, the course kept getting a little bit shorter, and then a little bit shorter. It started off at 70K and then ended up at 60. The swim was a half, I think, at first. Anyways, I'm just excited that I'm back here, and it is what it is. Probably from all the guys here, I probably have the most experience on the shorter Olympic distance. But 2008, you said it's a long time ago. On the other hand, it's very early in the season, and I think it's a good way to start a season, just to try and punch out some bigger numbers and a little bit more hurt before you then go into what will hopefully happen in October.
So, speaking of October, you obviously you're already in, right? They're not doing a quality. Pros, you guys don't have to qualify by winning. You don't have to quote unquote validate anymore.
Yeah.
So there's also Challenge Roth in September. There's a Collins Cup in August. There's all sorts of major things, and we see everything is going to be in the fall. Obviously, number one is going to be Kona. Will you try to do something else before that?
I hope so, but I can't realistically say that I'd do an Ironman or
No.
Iron Distance race in September. It'd just be...
It's too ridiculous.
It'd be, suicidal, I think, for the athlete that I am. You can see it working for someone like Cameron Worth, who's done well of racing 3 or 4 weeks out from Kona. I'm not that kind of athlete, and I think everybody has to decide that for themselves and see where they're at. Personally, I feel that, I definitely want to do something between now and then. It's a very long stretch,
Yes.
and got some ideas in the back of my mind. But realistically, I'm just keeping fingers and toes crossed that second weekend in October we're back on.
How have you had to adapt to being a little bit older in terms of your training? How have you adapted to, have you had to cut back? Do you do less speed? Do you do more speed and less distance? How do you adapt to age?
Quite luckily, so far, I haven't noticed too much. It honestly, it's been an interesting year because obviously last year I never went to that limit. I never went to the extra mile. The other thing is that I haven't actually raced with a pair of carbon shoes, let alone trained with a pair of carbon shoes. So all of a sudden you're running these sets and you're like, man, that's really good. But then you're like, that's, they do help and they do definitely make you faster. And all of a sudden you're like, well, do I kind of have to deduct something off the sets that I did last year? Or, it's kind of, it's tricky to gauge where the form actually is, especially when you're tired and in a continuous block like that. It really was quite late that I was confirmed for this race, or that I knew about this race, honestly. And ever since I've been in that go mode, which is fatigue and accumulating more fatigue and just making sure I get things done. But I haven't really noticed
That's good.
any setbacks so far.
I love that. And like you said, you've been able to spend more time with the kids. What type of things you've been doing? You get out and do some skiing, or what have you been doing?
Yeah, we spent a fair bit of time skiing. Took the little man up the mountain. Actually, a little girl as well. She came up, but at sort of 2 years old, it's a bit soon. But yeah, other than that, we've been going mountain biking, plenty of mountain biking around the trails, which is really getting fun. To that age where you can actually go and ride a few easy single trails. Again, very rewarding and very disconnecting after what is the normal continuity where everything is always mono-focused about numbers and heart rates and pace and all these kinds of things, and just go to the mountain and switch off and just get excited about taking a drop that's it's a couple of inches high, but your little man's taking that drop for the first time, and it's exciting.
It's a couple inches more than you ever did before.
Absolutely.
That is very cool. So we see this the Challenge North America series, eventually 15 events around Canada and the U.S. and at speedways around the North America. Just from your brief experience riding here, are you excited about where this whole thing is going? I mean, my personal feeling is this is a toy box, right? That you could be doing tri-clinics, run clinics, you could do anything you wanted out here, and you could do it Monday through Friday, right? It wouldn't matter. You don't have to block off a road. But as a guy who's been in the sport forever, does this type of thing excite you?
To be honest, I hear the word game changer so many times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just anybody, just come close to even thinking about changing the game. Really, it's
just do it.
Just do it. But very often it's just things that are warmed up. Whereas here, I have been more than positively surprised, because I honestly thought that the monotony of doing laps would be, something that would make it a COVID solution. Quite frankly, this kind of course that I've seen here this morning and the whole facility has made me realize that this is definitely a super cool future part, especially for the pro racing. I'm not sure the entire Speedway itself is adapted to an age group race, but similar to what they're doing here, the age group race actually goes out. But to showcase the sport and to make for exciting racing, I think this is actually, or could be, a bit of a game changer. I hate to use the word, word, but I think it's pretty
Well,
it's pretty exciting.
I don't use that word a lot either.
No,
That's what-
definitely you've seen more than me.
I'm totally sold. I just think it's a great anything that keeps people away from cars during races, I think is a good thing. And I like this a lot. So, hey, as always, thank you so much for everything you do. And if people want to support your charity, where can they go?
We'll be launching it officially later in the month.
Okay.
So we'll publish everything, and we're working together with a bigger foundation that will help us facilitate kind of donations and all these kind of things. But yeah, first and foremost, we'd like to pitch the idea and show what we're actually about and show what we want to do. And yeah, stay tuned later in the month.
And I can come ride on the course?
You can definitely come ride. It'd be an honor to have you.
Jan Frodeno, 3-time Ironman world champion, has been our guest. This is day 1 of Breakfast with Bob from Challenge Miami. Hold on, everybody. We will be right